Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World. In this video I am going to share with you what is new in my vintage wardrobe. I have been collecting quite a few bits recently. I say recently, over a year. I think my last video of what's new in my vintage wardrobe, and yeah, I thought I'd share with you what's new on my rail and this one as well. I've categorised things, so let's do things in categories. I'm going to show things on mannequin rather than on me because I'm just not feeling it. My body confidence is not the best at the moment, so yeah, on the mannequin it is. So the first few pieces are actually a bunch of 90s stuff given to me by my mom. So I bought myself a 1990s dress, which you'll see later on, and I just really like the pattern of it, and I very much kind of discontinued the idea of 90s stuff. It's not vintage to me, I think it's retro. I was born in the 90s, so I'm like, ooh, but it's like 30 years old now. But anyway, yeah, I just like, oh, that's not really vintagey, retro-y, but wow, aren't they comfortable? And they are. And my mum was cleaning out her wardrobe and she's like, do you want these? And I was like, yes please. And I've worn so many of them. So the first up is this vintage Birktex floral dress. I really like the print of this with this black background. I think works really well for autumn and winter, and being floral obviously goes for summer and spring too. It has buttons detail and a tie back as well, and I remember my mum wearing this pretty vividly, so oh, funny. The next one is a blouse that I haven't worn yet. It's too big for me, but I thought perhaps if I wore some, like, maybe a white top underneath and that kind of wore this as a bit like a jacket, but I love the pattern of it. I think that's really cool. Another dress is this bright hot pink one with these gorgeous flowers. I can't remember my mum wearing this, but yeah, it's she said it was always a good one when it's very hot. And then the last dress that my mum got me is another one that I've worn quite a lot, and it's this one from New Fast. I don't know, but it's navy with florals. My mum always used to wear kind of navy colours, and again, buttons with the tie. Very 90s. It's very 90s to do this, wasn't it? Then we have stuff that I've managed to accumulate from charity shops. The first piece from the charity shop I'll show you is the dress in question, the 90s dress in question, but look at this pattern. I thought it was so lovely, and again, buttons and a tie. Fun fact about this dress, this is the dress that I got engaged in. So I was in a charity shop with my mom. Actually, I don't think I bought it, I think my mum bought it, and for me as a Christmas present, and I was like, oh, that's a really nice pattern, and pulled it out, and I was like, oh, it's vintage Marks and Spencer's, it's St. Michael's 90s dress. And when it comes to the winter, I wear these 90s dresses with some tights, boots and a jumper over the top, so it kind of looks more of a skirt than an actual dress. But yeah, I really liked it, and this was the dress I got engaged in on Christmas Eve 2020. And if I remember rightly, I think that was about £3. Bargain. Speaking of dresses for £3, I've still got the label on this one. This is from the RSPCA. This is a lovely original 1970s dress. It has a few problems. The sleeves are all loosey-goosey, but it's the same on both sides, so they match. And other than that, it's really nice. I like the pattern. I think the pattern's so 70s, and that's what I always look for. I always look for a real fun pattern. I like the background, that fact, like it's a peachy pink. I think works really, really well. And I love a floral. Can you tell I'm wearing florals today? I do love a floral. I thought this was beautiful. The next charity shop find I really liked, because this is 80s to 50s, and this was, I've still got the tag on this one, £4.99, and this is a Pippa, can you see that? A Pippa D dress. And I was like, oh, it's Pippa D. And my mum went, ooh. And I was like, what is it? And mum was like, you remember Tupperware parties? And I said, yes. Pippa D was like a Tupperware party. There's not even Tupperware parties now, is there? Like, you know, body shop parties where people get together and show different items from the body shop. Well, when I was a kid, it was Tupperware, and when my mum was younger, it was Pippa D. And mum said, oh, they used to be really expensive. I never could afford a Pippa D. But this is an 80s to 50s dress, which is very, very nice. Tie back, one of those dresses that you could wear with a petticoat to puff it out, or if you want, you could just wear it as it is, and it looks beautiful. And I just really, really like it. I love, in particular, the neckline. I do love a square neckline. Then we have another 90s piece. This is Biscuit, and I found this in a charity shop. I think this is, oh, I can't remember, $5.99, $6.99. But anyway, I really liked the print, and I wore this to a wedding. I already wore it to a wedding. It had little pearly buttons, so I wore my pearls with it, and I just really, really liked it. Really like it. Then we have a skirt. This is a lovely 90s skirt in the most wow green ever. The buttons are really, really fun. Aren't they good? I like that. It's kind of like, it's almost like they're little flowers. I think I really like that. And it's just such a fun green that I think looks really nice with a white top, and then show off the green, and then bright jewellery as well, make it nice and fun. And that, I'm sure that was £2 at a charity shop. £2. A blouse now, as we're on to one pieces. This is another St. Michael's, Marks and Spencer's, another 90s piece, and it's just this floral. This was £4, and I just thought this was really nice. Just some, you know, a bog basic, but with really pretty florals. Can you tell that I like florals? The next piece, I actually kind of think is a bit gross, but it is vintage Laura Ashley with the horrible, horrible shoulders. But I really liked the pattern, like very kind of 80s, 90s print. It just kind of reminded me of, well, kind of reminded me of a pillowcase, to be honest. But I just liked it. And it's one of those pieces that I don't think I'll ever wear it as a dress. I think I'll wear it as like a skirt and wear something over the top of it, because I think the shoulders are vile. I don't like that, but I couldn't resist. And then last but not least, from the British Heart Foundation, this is $5.99. Heart Foundation, I usually find is really quite expensive, but this I thought was bargain. 1970s paisley dress in this beautiful maroon colour, and I've got so much wear out of this dress, so much wear out of it. It is unbelievable. I've worn this so many times. Definitely got my £6 worth, and so shocked to find an original 70s piece in a charity shop. Okay, now the next few pieces I'm going to show you are from sellers online, like vintage sellers, vintage dealers. The first one is from a shop called Bad Biscuit. They have a YouTube channel. They are, generally speaking, a vintage jewellery dealer, but occasionally there are vintage clothing in the shop as well. And they had this dress. This is an original 1960s dress, which is stunning. I loved the print. Love. How could you not love that print? I think it's just so fun. Now, this is an original 60s dress, and I don't wear a lot of 60s because it's too short for me. I am 5'10", I'm very tall for a female, and this dress barely covers my bum. So I've worked out a way to wear this that I actually really like wearing it. So I wear it with the top couple of buttons done up, so it covers literally up to about my belly button, and then I wear high-waisted shorts underneath it and wear the rest of it out so you can see the shorts poking out, and I really like wearing it like that. I think that's just so much fun. Yeah, but just a very fun 60s piece and such a prominent pattern, and this was, I think this was £30, but I just love it. And when are you going to see another one, really? Honestly, are you? The next item is from a vintage dealer. Jade from Scarlett Rage Vintage. Scarlett Rage Vintage is a vintage clothing company that sells a whole different array of things and a whole different price range as well. So they do the cheaper, more affordable stuff, and then they do higher end designer pieces occasionally as well. So if you're looking for a designer piece, then I would suggest Scarlett Rage Vintage, but occasionally they have sales on, and I bought this. This is an original late 30s, maybe 40s skirt. It's in this lovely kind of whitey cream with this lovely kind of pattern. I just loved it. I even love the little slip at the back. I just think it's so, so nice. And I think I can wear it. I mean, it is white, so I do have to be careful, but it's just lovely. It was lovely, and it was £20. £20. Then from one of my favourite vintage clothing dealers, Claire from Secondhand Rose. Claire has a Etsy shop, but also sells on Instagram as well. And from her Etsy shop, I found this skirt. This is an original late 30s skirt that has been at some point gone onto the screen. Ooh. But I loved the pattern and I bought it off Etsy, and then suddenly I got a message and my money returned to me, and then it showed up and I was like, what? And Claire had said that although there were some problems and damage declared, there was more damage than what she realised there was, and decided to send it me anyway. How kind. It's a beautiful piece that I love. I mean, yes, it does have damage, but I think it is still wearable. I just love it. Even if as a study piece, I think it's really, really beautiful. I love the colours. I love a pink. So that obviously cost me nothing. And then Claire does the virtual vintage markets that happen on Instagram, where a bunch of different vintage sellers do them, and you can pick up some real bargains. And I picked up this beautiful original 1950s dress, which again does have a few problems. It has this stain here, but I have a flower, so if I can't get this stain out, I'm going to attach the flower to it, and I think that'll look lovely. It's also got some lightning under the armpits, but obviously you won't see that when it's on, but it's heavy. I have this dress but with sleeves and in blue, but it's exactly the same pattern, funny enough. It's pleated, it's just gorgeous, and it was £12. £12. Claire is a vintage seller that is so affordable and so reasonable. I think with her pricing, she probably has a higher turnover of vintage stuff going out. But that means that you get bargains all the time, including this amazing, amazing dress. So I will link Claire and all of these sellers down below. Speaking of a virtual vintage market, the next pieces are all from picking up from virtual vintage market, but from the same seller, which is Curious Orange, who has an Etsy shop as well as a shop on Instagram, so you can shop with her, and she's lovely. It's run by Kitty and got some wonderful pieces. So the first things first, I got this wonderful 1970s blouse, and it just had these lovely magazines and letters all across it, and as soon as I saw it I was like, yes please. This was £15, I remember that. And I just love it. I think it's so cool, and I love the fact that we have this little figure of a woman on it. I think it's just great, and I love, of course, the 1970s-esque pointy collar. This piece went right down in the sale. I think I paid like £5 in the end for this, but this is this lovely, I think it might be dead stock actually. Yeah, it is dead stock because it's still got the label on it. It's vintage St. Michael, 80s, maybe 90s. Blouse, and this lovely floral with this lace. I think this is so pretty. I just really liked it. I just thought, do I need another blouse? Not really, but can I say no? No. Apparently I can't. Then I treated myself to this original 1940s piece. I might have bought it because it's pink. It has actually been cut a bit shorter, but it still fits me. I really liked the pearly sort of mother of pearl buttons, and I just thought it was nice. I can't remember how much I paid for that one though. It's been a while. The next one I paid £5 for, bargain. It's this lovely autumnal 1970s piece. This does have a few problems under the armpits. If I can, that's best to show you. It is a little bit holy, so I do need to stitch that up. I've had this sat around for absolutely ages, this whole pile waiting for me to film. Oh dear. But I'm finally going to get around to it, but it's just so beautiful. And I think that come the autumn, this is going to be the perfect dress to wear. I just love it. Speaking of 70s dresses, the other dress that I have to show you is this one. This is so 30s. This is very 70s to 30s. It has that lovely kind of 30s silhouette, but it's kind of jazzed up with this 70s blaringness. It's not as subtle as the 1930s would be, but I just love it. I love wearing this piece, and it kind of feels very 30s actually. And yeah, this was a bargain too, but as I said, I can't remember how much things were because it was such a long time ago, but I know it was a bargain. I then have a few pieces from eBay. I don't generally shop for vintage on eBay much, but I do have a few pieces that I really, really like and had to buy because they were just bargains. The first is this original 1960s floral skirt that just looks so much fun. I think this came to like £8 including postage, and again, just with a nice simple white top. You can't go wrong, really. It's a lovely length as well, not too short, because as I said, I'm quite tall, so if I wear something on my waist, I want to make sure that it covers my bum and a little bit more. But I just really liked the pattern. I think that's just so much fun. The next piece is another probably late 60s skirt with this most amazing autumnal pattern. I bought this when we went through our first heat wave this year, and it is thick. Let me tell you, it is so thick. I paid £2.99 for the skirt and I paid £3.20 for post, so I paid more for the postage than I did the skirt, but I think it's crazy that for just over £6 I can have an original vintage skirt. There's nothing wrong with it at all, and it fits really nicely. It's just, wow, bargain. But I thought come autumn, winter, with some boots, that'll be really, really nice to wear, keep me nice and toasty. And then last but not least with eBay, a dress that has really divided opinion. This cost me 17 something, and then I can't remember if that includes post or not, but I really like it, but it's divided opinion in my family, shall we say, and it's this original 70s maxi dress. I love the botanics of it. I love the pink and the ruffles, and I just think it looks brilliant. I love the noise. Love the noise it makes. And I just, you know, I watch all these fashion bloggers and things, and they wear stuff like this, which is very, very kind of 70s style. And I'm like, I've got originals. I've got originals. But yeah. Let me know your opinion on that dress below. Then I have a few pieces that I picked up from Depop. Surprisingly, Depop is a place that I am finding lots of vintage sellers. I don't know if it's just the place to sell. I don't know if it's where all the cool kids want to sell on nowadays, but I found some really cool stuff. So the first dress is like one of my most favourite pieces, and it is my ultimate sentimental piece of my lovely original 1970s bohemian dress that I wore to my 30th / engagement party, and I love it so much. It has branches and blossom and little bits of like grass at the bottom, and it's just so floaty. And also for the party we had a barbecue, so because it has an elastic waistband, I could eat as much as I want because it would expand as I expanded as well, and that was £20. Such a bargain, and just such a wonderful sentimental piece to me now. Also off Depop, I found this skirt. Now the seller was a bit odd with this because the seller said, oh, it's a handmade skirt, 1960s. And I was like, okay. And then I got home, it's not handmade, there is a tag right there. And I've looked it up and it's 1970s. But that's fine because I love it. Look at this amazing, very vibrant skirt. And I just think it's so much fun. And it has pockets. Pockets, pockets, pockets. Again, with a nice plain top just to really show off the skirt, I think would look really, really nice. That was, again, around the £20 sort of mark. That's the kind of price that I like to pay. I don't like to pay too much for these works of art. And lastly, off Depop, I have the most amazing original 70s dress. It's a maxi dress. It's got a white background. It is also lined, so it keeps you surprisingly warm. It has little cap sleeves, and I just love it because it is a flower bomb. I can't get enough of florals. I honestly love florals. A floral dress is me, and I just love it. And it's so 70s. It just smacks of the era so much, and I just love it. I then have a few pieces that I've got off Etsy. The first is this, again, 1970s maxi dress that kind of reminded me of my garden, to be honest, because it has the most glorious floral pattern at the bottom of this dress. And I wore this and I went to Kenilworth Castle wearing this, and I had a couple of people that complimented me and said how nice my dress was, which was so lovely. And actually someone said I had a dress just like this in the 70s. So yeah, that was really, really wonderful to hear that. Such a lovely compliment to have. And that was about £25, I think. This dress, I remember, was £10, and this is a handmade piece, again from the 70s. I like to call this my Margot dress because it reminded me a bit of Margot Ledbetter from The Good Life, but I just loved the pattern. Very, very 70s, and it kind of sits on you a bit like a potato sack, but it's honestly the most comfortable thing in the world. If you have a day where you're just not feeling great, but I want to wear a dress and feel pretty, then this is what I chuck on. It was a tenner, really comfy, love it. And last but not least, from Etsy, a skirt that I saw its original price, which was £26. Then they had a 50% off sale, and I was like, yes, please. And it's this gorgeous skirt. I'm not quite sure the era of this because it feels like it could be something like the 1940s, to be honest, but the pattern says a lot later than that. The pattern says kind of 60s, 70s. But again, it's just the most gorgeous floral detail, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a little bit big for me to sit on my waist, so I wear it lower down on my hips, but that's absolutely fine as long as it doesn't fall down, obviously. But I just love it. I suppose I could take it in, but that'd be a little bit tricky with the pattern, but I love the flowers. If you've learned anything about me from this video, learn that I love florals. And last but not least, I have a few bits that I've acquired from actual vintage shops. The first is this lovely jacket here. This feels kind of very 20s, but I don't think it is. I think it's in the 70s. I think they're called Indian jackets. Kind of reminds me of a 1920s kind of painter's jacket, but I really, really love this. And I thought with just something simple like white top and jeans would look nice. Not that I wear jeans very often, but you know what I mean. That was a £5. A £5. You can get such good bargains in vintage shops, honestly. Speaking of bargains, this amazing late 60s maxi skirt, this was a tenner. I just loved the florals. This was in a vintage shop and there was no price on it, and so they called the dealer to ask, and I was like, please don't be expensive, please don't be expensive. Tenner. How gorgeous is this? Just stunning, and it fits really nice, and yeah, super happy with it. So I thought while I'm sharing bits and bobs, I might actually share with you a few bags that I purchased recently as well. My nickname when I was a child was the bag lady. I still love bags. The first bag that I want to share with you is this absolutely gorgeous original 1920s 30s bag, and this beautiful succulent cherry raspberry red. All of this here would have been hand embroidered. Look at the hours and hours of work that went into that. That's quite damaged. The silk is really perishing away. But as this piece that I'm just trying to conserve, I think for £25, it's really reasonably priced. I just love getting out and looking at it every now and then. Next up, we have this wonderful bag that has this most amazing print on it. This I got from Lily Loves Vintage, who has an Instagram as well. As I said, link everything below. I remember I saw this bag a little while ago on their shop and it was £20, and then it went into the sale for £10, and I was like, that is the universe telling me to get it. But I just love it. I love the pattern, and it actually sits on display over there. You can't see it, but it sits on display on my little chest of drawers, and I think it just looks so beautiful. But I could take the label off now, which is nice. And then finally, last but not least, the complete bargain of this handbag haul is this one here. This is an original 70s piece that I got at a charity shop for £3. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, I don't need another one, and I walked away. And I was like, and kept going back, and I was like, no. Kept going back, no. And eventually I was just like, you obviously want it, so just get it. Has this open like this, nice, just plain and simple, but has the most wonderful detail at the front, very botanical, but also very much a nod to the 30s with this kind of triangular shape that I just love. And what a bargain for £3. So there we have it. That is what is new in my vintage wardrobe. Whew, I'm tired now. So in the comment section, please let me know which piece or pieces was your favourite. Which piece did you really like? What would you like to add to your collection? If you could have any of these pieces, which one would you have? Which one do you think I'll get most wear out of? I love chatting to you in the comments, all things vintage. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Bye for now.